1. Shawn Michaels, 4 titles. Shawn Michaels only held 4 world titles during his long WWE career, which might surprise fans given his legendary status. But that's because HBK didn't need the belt to steal the show. He just did it anyway. When he was champion, though, it felt earned. From the Iron Man match against Bret Hart to his comeback win over Triple H at Survivor Series 2002, Michaels proved time and again that he was the best pure performer in the business. His reigns were emotional, intense, and packed with unforgettable moments. While 4 titles may not seem much when compared to the others, the quality of his championship matches is what truly stands out. 2. The Sandman, 5 titles. The Sandman is the guy you think of when you hear hardcore wrestling. His 5 ECW World Heavyweight title reigns were filled with chaos, beer cans, and cane swings. He wasn't about fancy wrestling, he was all about raw energy, connecting with fans who love the rebellious, anything-goes spirit of ECW. Sandman's reigns were pure chaos, where he would go toe-to-toe with literally any wrestler that stood in his way. His hardcore style of wrestling has made him a sort of cult figure in the industry, and fans still talk about him to this date. 3. Mad Dog Vachon, 5 titles. Mad Dog's 5 AWA World Heavyweight Champion reigns made him a legend in the wrestling territories, especially throughout the Midwest. Vachon wasn't the flashiest wrestler, but his toughness and wild persona made him stand out in an era when wrestling was raw and physical. Fans admired how he fought hard and didn't back down from anyone. His ability to get under opponents' skin made him one of the most memorable heels of his time. Even if newer fans haven't heard much about him, Mad Dog's legacy lives on as a classic tough guy who earned respect the old-fashioned way, with grit and hearts. 4. AJ Styles, 5 titles. AJ Styles is one of those rare wrestlers who has earned respect everywhere he's gone. He's held 5 world titles, 2 WWE championships, and 3 NWA titles. But the story doesn't end there. Before WWE, AJ was the cornerstone of TNA, carrying that company for years as its biggest star. He won 2 major titles there as well, but WWE doesn't officially recognize those. Still, fans know he was already a major star, which became evident when he received one of the loudest pops when he debuted in WWE at the 2016 Royal Rumble. 5. Goldberg, 5 titles. Goldberg has 5 recognized world titles, 1 WCW World Heavyweight Championship, 2 WWE Universal Championships, and 2 World Heavyweight Championships in WWE after the WCW merger. His first and most famous win came in 1998, when he defeated Hollywood Hogan to win the WCW title in front of a packed Georgia Dome. In WWE, he captured the World Heavyweight title in 2003 and returned more than a decade later to win the Universal Championship twice, defeating Kevin Owens and later The Fiend. Goldberg was never known for long reigns, but his title wins were always booked as major moments. 6. Seth Rollins, 5 titles. Seth Rollins has held world championships in every major modern era: the WWE Championship, Universal Championship, and most recently, the World Heavyweight Championship. But his reigns were never handed to him. He earned his first big moment by cashing in the Money in the Bank contract during the main event of WrestleMania 31, instantly cementing himself as a top player. Over time, he evolved from Shield enforcer to arrogant architect to the workhorse champion fans now respect. Rollins' ability to reinvent himself while putting on top-tier matches makes each of his 4 reigns feel like different chapters in an ongoing, high-quality story. 7. Daniel Bryan, 5 titles. Daniel Bryan's 5 world title reigns weren't about dominance, they were about heart. No one was supposed to reach the top like he did. Too small, too soft-spoken, too indie. But Bryan made it impossible to deny him. When he won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 30 after beating Triple H and then Batista and Randy Orton in the same night, the crowd didn't just cheer, they exploded. His later heel turn and reign as the planet's champion was just another twist in a career full of surprises. Every time he won the belt, it was emotional. He proved that being champion wasn't just about size, it was about connection. 8. Roman Reigns, 6 titles. Roman Reigns has held 6 world titles, 4 WWE championships, and 2 Universal Championships. Early in his career, from 2015 to 2018, fans had mixed feelings about him because he was pushed so hard and felt a bit overexposed. But that all changed when he returned in August 2020 with Paul Heyman by his side. He quickly won the Universal Championship and held it for an astonishing 1,316 days, the longest in recent WWE history. He finally lost to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 in April 2024, in what turned out to be one of the most iconic WrestleMania main events ever. 9. Kurt Angle, 6 titles. Kurt Angle held 6 world championships in total, 4 WWE championships, 1 World Heavyweight Championship, and 1 WCW Championship during the Invasion storyline. His first WWE title came in 2000, just a year after his debut, when he beat The Rock at No Mercy. He then went on to win multiple titles during the Ruthless Aggression era, with major rivalries against the likes of Brock Lesnar, Eddie Guerrero, and Big Show. In 2006, he briefly held the World Heavyweight Championship after being drafted to SmackDown. Angle's in-ring skill made each reign feel credible, and he is still remembered as one of the best pure wrestlers to ever hold the top belts. 10. CM Punk, 6 titles. CM Punk held 6 world titles, 4 World Heavyweight Championships, and 2 WWE Championships, and became one of the most defining champions of the modern era. Early on, Punk won multiple World Championship titles on SmackDown between 2008 and 2010, usually through opportunistic cash-ins or surprise wins that helped build his rebellious image. But his most iconic run came later in 2011, when he defeated John Cena at Money in the Bank and kicked off a 434-day WWE Championship reign. His final reign ended in 2013, when he walked away from WWE a year later. Even now, Punk's 6 world title wins feel bigger than the number itself. He didn't just win the belt, he made statements with it, and fans never forgot the message. 11. Stone Cold Steve Austin, 6 titles. Stone Cold Steve Austin held the WWE Championship 6 times, and every one of those reigns helped push WWE to new heights. He didn't just carry the belts, he carried the entire company on his back during the Attitude Era. The man was an absolute freak when it came to promos, and his feuds with Vince McMahon, The Rock, and Triple H are still regarded as some of the best in history. Austin wasn't about long reigns or technical classics, he was about rebellion, passion, and chaos. The glass shattering, the beer showers, the stunners. When he was champion, the crowd was electric. 12. Batista, 6 titles. Batista won a total of 6 world titles during his WWE career, 4 World Heavyweight Championships, and 2 WWE Championships. He first won it on WrestleMania 21 by defeating the legendary Triple H clean and fair. From there, Batista became the face of SmackDown, with multiple reigns that lasted months at a time. Most of his title wins occurred between 2005 and 2010, during the Ruthless Aggression era. He briefly returned in 2010 to win the WWE Championship again as a heel before leaving for Hollywood. Though he never added more reigns during his later returns, his 6 world titles represent a period when he was one of WWE's most iconic stars. 13. Kevin Nash, 6 titles. Kevin Nash's 6 world title run didn't always come with the flashiest wrestling moves, but the guy knew how to tell a story. Known to many as Diesel in WWE and as a founding member of the NWO in WCW, Nash was a huge part of wrestling's late 90s boom. His WWE Championship runs helped set the stage for his main event status, while his WCW World Heavyweight titles came at a time when he was part of some of the biggest angles ever. Nash wasn't about fancy spots, he was all about swagger and control. Even if his matches didn't always steal the show, his title reigns felt big because of who he was. 14. Christian, 6 titles. Christian's 6 world titles don't scream main event superstar right away, but they tell the story of a guy who earned everything the hard way. He held 2 NWA and 2 ECW World Championships back when those titles really meant something. At WWE, he was mostly a tag team specialist, teaming up with his best friend Edge, but he also had brief moments of success, where he won 2 World Heavyweight Championships. Christian was never regarded as the biggest superstar or the best promo cutter, but when he stepped into the ring, he let his moves do the talking. It's also said that he was very popular among the backstage staff due to his grounded and helpful nature. 15. Booker T. 6 titles. Booker T's 6 world title wins aren't just a stat, they tell the story of a guy who fought his way up from tough times to become a true wrestling legend. He ruled WCW's scene with 5 world championships during some of the company's most chaotic and exciting years. In 2001, when WCW was taken over by WWE, many fans believed he didn't have what it takes to compete with the likes of The Rock, The Undertaker, Triple H, and Stone Cold. But he exceeded expectations and ended up winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in 2007 by defeating another underdog, Rey Mysterio. 16. The Undertaker. 7 titles. The Undertaker wasn't a champion often, but when he was, it always felt important. Across his 3-decade career, he won a total of 7 world titles, 4 WWE championships, and 3 World Heavyweight Championships. His first came in 1991 at Survivor Series, when he beat Hulk Hogan in just his 2nd year with the company. During the 2000s, he won most of his titles with hard-fought victories against the likes of Batista, CM Punk, and Edge. Unlike most wrestlers, The Undertaker never needed the title to stay relevant. Many of his best matches were the ones at WrestleMania, where his prestigious streak was on the line. His final reign was in 2010, and it was ended by Chris Jericho, out of all people, at Elimination Chamber. 17. Bret Hart. 7 titles. Bret Hart's 7 world title reigns, 5 WWE and 2 WCW, are remembered for their consistency, class, and craft. He wasn't the biggest or the loudest, but inside the ring, Bret was as real as it got. Every time he held the belts, it was like wrestling had a standard bearer. His technical style, matched with emotional storytelling, elevated both opponents and titles. His rivalry with Shawn Michaels led to one of the most controversial title endings ever, the Montreal Screwjob, yet even that became part of his myth. When Bret was champion, it meant the best wrestler in the world was on top, and for many, that's exactly how it should be. 18. Big Show. 7 titles. Big Show might be one of the most physically imposing champs wrestling's ever seen. With 7 world title reigns split between WWE and WCW, he was a giant who could move like no other. His size made him believable as an unstoppable force, whether playing the scary monster or the good guy you root for. Some of his title runs were short, sure, but he made every reign memorable just by showing up and dominating. During the Invasion era, where WWE was filled with top dogs and impeccable talents, Big Show held the WCW World Championship and WWE titles multiple times. That alone shows how much trust Vince had in this giant. 19. Harley Race. 8 titles. Harley Race was old-school wrestling at its finest. Tough, no nonsense, and respected by everyone. His 8 NWA World Heavyweight Championship reigns during the 70s and 80s set the gold standard for what it meant to be a world champ. Race was known to be an absolute warrior who defended his belt all over the world against anyone willing to step up. He combined technical skill with brutal toughness, earning respect both inside and outside the ring. Today, his legacy lives on as the prototype for the hard-as-nails champion who fought through anything. 20. Sting. 10 titles. Sting's 10 world title reigns came outside the WWE spotlight, but that never stopped him from becoming one of wrestling's most respected champions. He was WCW's franchise player, the lone hero standing against the NWO when everyone else seemed to sell out. His World Heavyweight Championship victories, both under the WCW and NWA banners, were always earned through grit and loyalty. Even though WWE never gave him a world title reign during his short stint there, they still honored his legacy, and fans do too. From the colorful surfer look to the silent crow vigilante, Sting's presence made championships feel like moral victories, not just golden belts. In any other company, Sting was the heart. 21. Verne Gagne. 10 titles. Verne Gagne may not be a popular name today, but his 10 AWA World Championship reigns made him one of the most dominant champions of his era. He was a pioneer, not just in holding titles, but in building an entire promotion around old-school wrestling principles. The AWA might not be officially recognized by WWE as part of their title history, but its influence is hard to deny. Gagne's championship reigns were often lengthy, and they came at a time when wrestling was still presented as a competitive sport, not just entertainment. His legacy lives on more through what he built and who he trained, including stars like Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, than the belts themselves. 22. Brock Lesnar, 10 titles. Brock Lesnar didn't just win titles, he dominated people. With 10 world title reigns in WWE, he spent 2 decades flipping the idea of what a champion looked like. He didn't talk much, didn't show up often, but when he did, he smashed the competition. His very first WWE title win in 2002 made him the youngest champion at the time. Years later, after crushing The Undertaker's streak, he became nearly unstoppable. He held the Universal title for what felt like forever. Brock was the final boss of WWE, and every time he had the belt, it felt like no one was safe. 23. Edge, 11 titles. Edge's 11 world titles, 4 WWE championships, and 7 World Heavyweight Championships weren't just numbers. They were part of one of the most dramatic career trajectories in WWE history. After years in the tag division, he finally broke through in 2006, cashing in the first ever Money in the Bank briefcase to defeat John Cena. That moment turned him into a main event star overnight. He was the ultimate opportunist, always finding ways to escape with the title through manipulation, alliances, and well-timed spears. His reigns were often short, but packed with intensity. Edge won his last world title in 2011 before being forced into early retirement due to neck injuries, ending a career that had just hit its peak. A decade later, he returned from retirement and found himself back in the title picture, but never added another reign. 24. Hulk Hogan, 12 titles. Before there was global WWE, there was Hulkamania, and with 12 world title reigns, 6 in WWE and 6 more in WCW, Hogan was wrestling's first true crossover superstar. His WWE title reign in the 1980s launched an era where pro wrestling became mainstream entertainment. Hogan's feuds with Andre the Giant and Randy Savage weren't just matches, they were cultural events. Then in the 90s, he flipped the script, turned heel, and reinvented himself as the leader of the NWO in WCW, picking up more championships along the way. Say what you will about his style or politics, but Hogan knew how to sell a title fight like no one else at the time. 25. Randy Orton, 14 titles. Randy Orton's 14-title reign tells the story of a career that started fast and lasted longer than almost anyone expected. Debuting as the youngest world champion in WWE history at 24, Orton evolved from the cocky legacy kid into one of the most calculating and dangerous wrestlers of his generation. His signature RKO became a meme, but in the ring, his title runs were serious business. Whether feuding with Cena for years or tearing through SmackDown as the Apex Predator, Orton stayed in the title picture for nearly 2 decades. His slow, deliberate style matched his cold persona, and while he never seemed desperate to hold the belt, he always felt like a natural fit for it. 26. Triple H, 14 titles. Triple H may not have been the flashiest champion, but with 14 world title reigns to his name, he was one of the most reliable. He didn't always win cleanly, but his reign sometimes drew criticism for lasting too long, but he always made the title feel important. After breaking out of DX and becoming the Game, he controlled the main event scene from the late 90s through the 2000s with feuds against The Rock, Stone Cold, and later Batista. His runs as champion often reflected the era, gritty, political, and dramatic. Now as WWE's head of creative, he carries a different kind of authority, but those championship runs cemented him as a Hall of Fame level main eventer long before. 27. Ric Flair, 16 titles. For decades, Ric Flair was the measuring stick for what a world champion looked like, with 16 recognized world title reigns across NWA, WCW, and WWE. Flair's legacy was built in arenas across the globe, often defending his title 7 nights a week. He brought a larger-than-life presence with his robes, swagger, and signature "woo" echoing through crowds for generations. Whether battling Ricky Steamboat in clinics of technical wrestling, or brawling with Dusty Rhodes in bloody grudge matches, Flair made every title feel prestigious. Though 2 of his reigns came in WWE, most of his legacy was forged before Vince McMahon's empire took over. Yet WWE still rightfully honors him as one of the greatest ever. 28. John Cena, 17 titles. John Cena is the GOAT of WWE when it comes to winning titles. With 3 World Heavyweight and 14 WWE titles, he is one of the most recognizable people, not just in wrestling, but in the whole world. John Cena was the man who carried WWE on his back for over a decade during the Ruthless Aggression and PG eras, winning titles after titles. His connection with fans and those extremely sharp promos made each reign feel meaningful. He won his first WWE Championship in 2005 by defeating JBL, and went on to headline countless WrestleManias and major events. As of now, John Cena is the undisputed WWE Champion, which he won by defeating Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41.